doing a little video. It's a lot different than most of the ones I've done, but this one is going to be on Marathon. Now, I've been playing this game probably 20 hours now. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it is a shooter. I like shooters, and it's an extraction shooter. I've never played an extraction shooter before, but I'm really starting to have fun with them. I love that this one's first person. I love that it's made by the same creators as Halo. I really wasn't a big fan of Destiny or anything like that. So, you know, I was kind of surprised to like it as much as I do. It's definitely got a huge learning curve. It's really confusing. The game does a horrible job of telling you anything about what you need to know. It just lets you figure it out. So today, my goal is to make a video about what the fuck is Marathon, and hopefully you like it. Not sure if I'm going to keep creating content like this, but this is something that I needed to do for myself, so I figured why not do this for you too. So hope you guys enjoy. Check it out.
We're about 800 years in the future, and civilization had already colonized Mars, colonized moons, and we were overpopulated and not enough resources. So they decided to send a colony by taking the moon of Mars, hollowing it out, filling it with colonists and resources, and shipping it off to Tau Ceti 4. Long story short, that colony ends up getting attacked, and they send back a distress signal to Earth. And our job now is to load in biosynthetic runner shells to basically figure out what happened. Was it an alien attack? Was it a contagion? We're trying to figure out what happened on this planet that's too uninhabitable for humans. So we load into these biosynthetic runners to figure out the mysteries of Tau Ceti and Marathon. So the first runner we have is Destroyer. He is the tank, the aggro, the aggressive player. He's actually the one in the opening clip where you saw I got that crazy snipe and walked out with a crazy amount of loot. Okay, each character has 2 traits, which are like passive abilities, a tactical, and then a prime, which is like an ultimate. So real quick, I'm gonna give some insight into some of these guys' abilities, because while it may describe it, it may not give the most insight into how powerful they actually are. So for the Destroyer, his traits, he has a tactical sprint, move faster at the cost of generating heat. He's basically the only character in the game that has like a super sprint, and he can cover some ground. Yeah, trait number 2, while airborne, he can press jump again, and it fires thrusters that allow him to basically in-air strafe. For his tactical, he has an energy barricade, basically a little riot shield. You can still shoot below it and shoot his legs, but it takes in all of the incoming damage at the expense of overheating. So you can't hold it up forever. And then his prime. It's crazy. You may have saw in the opening clip, in the intro clip, as you start to shoot at people, it will begin to build up an energy bar and then launches a barrage of rockets, of homing missiles that deal damage and immobilize the enemies. He is very powerful, very difficult to use, but man, if you can figure him out, Destroyer is awesome. Number 2 is Vandal. I honestly would not suggest this for new players, for reasons we'll talk about later, but her trait, 1, is she gets a supercharged slide that generates additional heat. She slides forward like crazy fast, crazy far, but you can't shoot while you're sliding. So sometimes you're sliding into an enemy and then they just shoot at you before you can get your gun up. Trait number 2, she activates an in-air jump to perform another jump at the cost of generating heat. So she has a double jump, which is really nice for breaking high grounds, breaking choke points on ladders and stuff like that. Her tactical is she charges up her arm and launches a high-powered energy projectile that deals damage and pushes the target away. You can see here I bump someone out of cover and then kill them with that ability. And then her prime. She overcharges her movement systems, reduces of movement abilities, and increases the movement speed and weapon dexterity. Basically, she overclocks, allowing herself to go crazy, move faster, and have increased basically movement queen, movement king, cooldown spam. It's pretty good, but big picture, early in the game, when you don't have a lot of your skills upgraded, which we'll talk about here in a second, I feel like she overheats a little bit too much. She'll probably be better later when we have better base stats, but we'll get into the base stats here in a second. Number 3 is Recon. This is the information warrior. Trait number 1. After breaking a combatant's shield, they leave behind a lingering holographic trail. This is crazy. You break someone's shields and it basically leaves like a blood trail, a bright trail that you can follow them down and get pretty easy kills. Trait number 2, receive a notification when pinged by hostile runners, and you will ping the remaining teammates after performing a finisher. So if you're a recon, yell out to your teammates and say like, oh, let me finish him, because you ping and then it will show where all the enemy teammates are, which is huge for an extraction shooter. Tactical. She launches out this little spider bot that runs towards the nearest enemy, and when it blows up, it overheats them, which basically means they run out of stamina. We'll talk about that here in a second, and they can't run anywhere. And then the prime is a series of sonar pulses that allows you to basically see enemy locations through walls. It's not like a live ping, but it will just drop little dots showing where they are. Very useful, one of the best characters in the game. Next up is Assassin. Assassin's trait automatically activates camouflage systems when entering any smoke. Persists a short time after leaving the smoke. This one's crazy, especially with multiple assassins on the map. He is full up in Viz when he's not moving. Very powerful. Trait number 2. If he jumps from high places, he can also activate a slam smoke disc, which also allows him to turn invisible. For his tactical, he actually can just manually toggle his active camo at any time and sprint around at full speed and be damn near fully invisible. Again, crazy powerful. And then his prime is, would you guess it, he throws a line of smokes that bounce off the ground and he's invisible inside of all those smokes. He's really good. Now, thermals counter him, recons counter him. If he's off cooldowns, he's not, doesn't have anything going for him. But next up is Triage. This is the medic. So his tactical, I'll mention first, he actually has a medical drone that he can throw on his teammates. He can throw it out multiple times to where basically him and all of his teammates all are having it. And it will heal both the shield and the health. And it also slows out their bleed out whenever they're down on the ground. Super useful. His next trait is any teammate with a medi drone will also receive whatever healing item he uses. So if the triage doesn't even need it, if he pops a shield and his teammate's out in the distance and needs that heal, it will heal that player while he's back using shields so that player can continue fighting. Pretty cool. Next up, he has overcharge gauntlets, which basically he uses his energy to charge up his gauntlets, which then allow him to get a bonus burst of damage and deal heat damage. I think eventually he can EMP him potentially with those overcharged shots. And then prime, he shoots out 2 tendrils, and those tendrils can either damage enemies and EMP them, or it can res your teammates, both full dead or just in the down position. We'll talk about being full dead here later. And then finally, we have Thief. Thief just came out with the launch of the game, and for her traits, she moves faster as she has, and her tacticals recharge faster as her backpack is more filled up. Her other trait is she has a visor that allows you to see loot and its rarity through walls, and as well as any hostiles in her LOS. So if it's like really foggy, but you still technically can see, you can pop that and it will help pop someone out of maybe that was hiding in a bush or in the shadows. And then of course you can use it to be a little loot goblin. Her tactical is a grappling device that you don't need to grab onto anything. It just grabs onto things midair, and then you can just pull anywhere across the map. And then her prime, she sends out this toxic drone that it's not toxic. I mean, it's not literally toxic, but it's pretty dang toxic. You can fly it around. You can ping hostiles. You can also shoot a little tendril out that knocks loot out of their backpack that you then can pick back up and bring it to you across the map. It's insane. It's a griefing machine.
Wait,
and it's
what?
The Thief. And then finally, the 7th shell.
I did not know that. That is actually pretty sick.
Actually is the Rook. Now the Rook, you can only load into raids with solo trios, and you load in mid-raid. Every other time when you go into a raid, you go in at the beginning of the raid. There is no awkward, mid-raids like Arc Raiders. You load into the beginning of the raid with every runner, except for Rook, who you will load in with mid-raid. You load in with pretty weak abilities, pretty weak armor, pretty weak backpack, but you can actually upgrade the Rook in the skill trees we'll talk about later to give him better ammo, better guns, better armor at the start, and the Rook becomes pretty dang fearsome. He only has 2 abilities. So he has his tactical, which basically puts a visor over his face that allows him to blend in with the other UESC, which are the AI in the game. It's like a scav from Escape from Tarkov. And then he has a prime, which allows him to slowly regenerate health. Again, he's going in mid-raid. You don't get to pick what you bring in. Sometimes he'll have some basic meds on him, but if you end up taking a lot of damage, it's nice to have that prime to regenerate health. The Rook is a great way to, honestly, sometimes just go in and pick up the scraps off a fight because players can't bring all the loot with them. And later on, the Rook gets some pretty powerful stuff like claymores and shotguns, and it's a great way for you to continue to play an extraction shooter, even if you're struggling with the PvP side of things. There also is free kits, which we'll talk about here in a second, but if you wanted to play free kit with one of the 6 other runner shells, you can do that as well.